And as we're getting our back comfortable on the ground, the breath we're going to try to start off with is a nice circular breath. So any inhale that you take, let it be deep and full, but rather than pausing after the inhale, try to let it circle directly into the exhale. So inhale connects directly to exhale, exhale connects directly to inhale. It's almost like we're starting to turn a wheel, starting to feel that connection. So take a couple of breaths just to notice that sensation, that circular breath. Try to keep that circle going as we take a moment to connect with our intention. The big idea behind everything is the idea of becoming unstuck. And I'm a very visual person, so if I have an image of what that might look like, to me that's so helpful, because then as I move through class, it's like I've got that image and I'm trying to get my body to feel that way. So images for me are useful. So the image I was thinking of is if you get metal shavings and you lay down a bar magnet, the shavings immediately go to trace around the magnetic field. So that field, if you turn it into 3D, the world has that field also, that magnetic field that's circling all the way around. And this is called a toroidal field. So imagine, just like a compass points to one direction, imagine that energy is all pointed up to one side, and then it circles down through the center, and it circles, just continues to circle around, almost like a donut, but huge. And so that toroidal field, for me, is that perfect representation of getting not stuck. If you were to change the charge on that bar magnet, and just of one side, so one side is, just as negative as you want it to be, but the positive side is not really there, the magnet does not work effectively. It only works with the amount balanced of positive and negative. And so imagine with today's class, to kind of help to supercharge that magnet and to also help to balance it out, so it's got both the positive and negative going on. That's how we're allowing that energy to circle around as free and as open and expansive as possible. So that's kind of the image that we can keep in the back of our mind, that creating that huge magnetic field kind of centered around our heart. That'll be that idea that leads us on. So with that, let's begin our physical movements. We'll start off knees coming into the chest. So we're taking it nice and easy on the back and on the hips. Just kind of rocking left and right. Noticing how our spine feels. Good. So with the spine pretty well set up in a really good way, the very first thing we're going to do here is allow the right leg to stretch up to the sky and allow the left leg just to release down to the ground. So as we're building up that magnet that we talked about, we're going to incorporate a lot of circles in our class today. So this first circle is going to start off super slow motion. So we're focusing on this right leg for a little while. If the foot wants to do some nice little circles, let that foot roll out. As that starts to come to ease, if you want to start working on the calf, maybe you start to straighten that out a bit more. Maybe you want to pull the whole leg a little bit closer. You're focusing on finding this right leg in a really good stretch. It's almost like this part of our body is getting charged up. Just take a couple more breaths. Good. Dropping this right leg down to the ground. Left leg takes the same ease for the first part. So hands are just easily grabbing on. Maybe we're focusing on toes at first. that starts to feel better, maybe we work on straightening the leg or pulling the whole leg closer. And bring yourself right up to that edge where you're still comfortable, but you are definitely feeling sensation going on. That's where the change starts to happen. Another good breath or two on this side, making sure it's in that good stretch. And then we'll start our slow cycle. So as right leg travels up, our hands grab onto that one, left leg lowers down. But at first we're going super slow. So this top leg is brought back into the stretch completely. And then we switch. Now this one is brought into the stretch completely. Just letting ourselves ease our way back and forth. Right leg stretching, left leg stretching. Such an easy way to kind of ease in toward our exercises today. And at any point, if you want to start increasing the tempo, that's allowed. So maybe going just a hair faster than you were. Maybe we go even faster. We can always take breaks, by the way. We've been doing this for a while, so sometimes the body needs a moment, and then you're able to continue on. So no pressure. Good. If there's still more room for more speed, maybe we continue to increase that, maybe even dropping hands off entirely. Going kind of as fast as you can. I'll do a countdown from 10. It's okay if you're going as fast as me or not. So here's 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good work. Dropping the legs down. Let's allow right ankle to cross over the left ankle. And then legs scoot off to the left, setting up like a banana. Above our head, grab onto right wrist. Then the shoulders scoot off to that left just a little bit. Imagine this body is kind of like that toroidal film. It's like there's energy coming up and in. There's energy traveling across the center. And then there's energy traveling up and out. Like our body right now is tracing part of that beautiful field. Good, let's ease out of that side and we'll take it immediately to the other. So left ankle over, legs to the right. Grabbing onto left wrist, scoot the shoulders a little bit off to the right. And notice how it feels to take a couple of deep breaths through the center of the body. Like when we're not moving, let's imagine there's kind of two ways to affect our magnet. So the first is movement. And the second would be with our breath. So now right here when we're not moving, that breath is still affecting things. Helping it all out, increase the charge, increase the field, increase our capacity to just feel good. So another belly breath. When we release, come back onto the mat. The spine is nice and centered. Then from here, knees come back into the chest. Give it a couple of circles, just noticing if this torso and hip area feels even a little bit different than it did before. Good. So we're going to head in toward our neck shape. This one for me feels like exactly like we're tracing that full toroidal field. So we're going to curl the head in toward the knees. We allow arms to stretch to top of mat, legs to back of mat, and then circle all the way back into that curled in position. So imagine as we're tracing up, it's like we're going up through the center of the earth and then out the bottom and circling around. So just feel this whole circular field is essentially what our arms are tracing right now. Incorporating our breath, huge inhales when we stretch, exhales when we return. If you're doing okay, here's another 5. 4. 3. 2. And 1. Good work. Dropping the head back down, let's let the knees take a nice little twist. Off to the left, arms spread open. Imagine if there's stuck energy up the spine. This is kind of helping the vertebrae to be a little bit looser. Maybe a little snap, crackle, and pop comes out. Lifting the knees up, twist it over to the second side. Huge inhale. Exhale. We return hips to the ground, plant the feet right beneath the glutes, and hands from the floor right by the hips. So from here, let's take a couple of bridge poses. Imagining this is like a little circle that's helping the whole body lift and the whole body to lower. So nice and easy. Take your inhale, rising up one vertebrae at a time. Keep the inner thigh slightly squeezed, exhale, lower down. Go for 10 total if you're doing okay. Here's 9. 8. 7. Imagine it's like our spine is a big pipe. Here's 6. Imagine that pipe got filled with gunk. So one of the ways we can get the gunk out, here's 5, is by kind of making the pipe have to move around, kind of banging it onto different things. Here's 4. So imagine movements like this up and down the spine are helping stuck energy to come a little bit more free. Here's 2. And 1. Good. When hips are on the ground, take the hands behind the back of the head, nice and clasped together. And we're going to trace a full circle crunch. So you lift up, let's all at least start to the same direction. So left elbow lifts up to the center, that tilts us to the right. Circle all the way up. Circle circle down to the left and down. Immediately reverse directions. I like to connect that smooth breath. So a nice exhale through the entire contraction, circling around. Inhale, break. Always skip a rep or two. Yeah. You're doing okay. Let's do 3 more each direction. Here's 2. And 1. Good. When you finish that last set, just let the head relax down. We'll start to slide our thumbs right under the glutes. So that helps the low back to kind of just get pressed into the ground naturally by that little tuck of the hips. So from here, legs start to point directly up to sky. Try to keep the legs as straight as possible. What we're going to do is allow the right leg independently to trace a circle as wide as it can, and when it returns, left leg traces a circle. Good, now here's the mind teaser. The next time you start with right, try to get the circle to the other direction. And other. So one time the leg goes up and around, up and around. The second time it's down and around. Down and around. So try to keep your brain a little bit in tune so you know which direction to take next. Pretty challenging. Let's try to take 1 more to each of these directions, so it should be 4 circles total. And then when you're there, go ahead and take a little break, right ankle to left thigh, set it up in a hug. Like I mentioned, these moments of break, when our heart rate starts to pick up, this is our chance to slow down the breath. And doing that naturally helps to slow down the heart rate. Not that it's bad to pick up the breath, the heart rate and the breath. In fact, I kind of imagine that toroidal field starts to spread outward the more active our heart is. So it's almost like, how big is my field right now? Like, is it as big as this room? Is it as big as my neighborhood? Is it as big as a city? Like, we imagine it getting bigger and bigger each time. And what if we could imagine the bigger we got that field to be, the more we had the ability to influence others. Anybody within our field, they can't help but feel just a little bit different because we're affecting them. So if we're feeling good, it helps everybody in our field feel a little bit better. Go ahead and switch your ankles out to the other side, giving it time to bring it back to balance. Good inhale. Deep relaxed exhale. When we release our hands, let both of our feet go down to the floor for a moment. This helps us to make sure spine is centered, everything feels good. Let the knees fall into one another. And from here, right leg extends out. Our arms sweep up overhead. With an exhale, this next circle is by sweeping us up. So exhale, you sweep the arms to the side, try to lift as much of the back off the ground as possible. Inhale, return. Good, let's repeat that. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good work. That leg has been doing a lot just to hold itself there. So take a little break. Pat the feet about as wide as mat. Let's do a couple of nice bonus windshield wipers. Knees left, knees right. Back and forth a couple of times, making sure our body's still able to work with us. If we feel good, let's bring our knees back to touch. And this time, left leg will extend out. When our arms sweep overhead, we take our inhale, exhale, rise as much of the back off the ground as possible, and return. Here's 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Good work. We made it. 1. Same thing. Knees nice and wide. This time, when the knees fall over to the left, just pause. Maybe left ankle comes up and rests on right thigh if you like that extra internal rotation. Just like that. Once again, fill into the heart, fill into the lungs. It's like new movement, new flow, new energy. Just notice it's like all this activity. There's that stretching way of getting the pipe clear. There's also the blowing way. You either hook up water or you put your mouth and you get that gunk to just blow out the other side. So all this activity is like that energy traveling through so that things are not stuck anymore. Go ahead and release. Switch it to the other direction with the knees. Maybe right ankle rest up. Just feel within your body how nice it is to have things much more open, much stronger, much more stable, and just clean and pure from that energetic standpoint. Another inhale. Exhale. Let's do a few nice little windshield wipers just to help our hips out, recovering from that little stretch. Good. So this next one has a couple of different options depending on what your body is capable of doing. So I'll show you step 1, step 2, step 3. Each time I give you an additional option. That would be something you don't have to take. It's only if your body's capable of it. So option 1, arms reach up overhead. We simply try to lift as much back off the ground as possible. So option 1 is you do a nice little lift and then it's back down. That's helping to build up that core strength through little crunches. Option 2, coming all the way up to sit, stretch over the toes and roll all the way back down. Option 3, if you can maintain all that and you still want more, once you come back to the ground, arms come by our sides, we lift our legs up and our legs try to do that same circle, up and over, and then slowly roll all the way back down. So doing that full thing, I'm going to count 5. If you choose option 1 or 2, just keep on going as long as I'm still doing that the whole thing, the whole shebang with legs and everything. Okay, so prep up with arms here. Inhale, exhale, whatever variation you're doing. Let's go for first. But if you're doing legs too, plant the hands so that they can lift. If not, just keep on going. Good. Going for 4. About halfway there, 3. And here's coming up to 2. Last full round or 2. Good. And then we'll add one bonus. All of us come up to sit. From our seated position, just sit up first. So think of your spine, that magnet bar going up, 90-degree angle here. And then just let the spine start to round forward. You'll notice that when you round from this spot, it's a really good stretch for the back of the neck. So just give that some time, some patience. Now from here, if your body wants to go to a deeper spot, we'll start a little cycle. Know that you don't have to go any further. You don't have to do anything else if you're in a good spot already. So if you're taking that, what we'll do is straighten our spine back up to the upright spot. Tilt the spine forward about an inch or so, and then round back down from that new angle. Once you've been down for a moment, if you want to go with that same cycle again, you straighten up to that angle, tilt forward another inch, and round back down. Like we're gradually easing our way as deep as possible. Don't feel like you're rushing your way toward the end spot. It's only continuing the cycle as long and as far as it feels like your muscles are capable of deep pain experience. At some point sooner or later, we'll all get to a good stop spot where we just get to hold. So it's okay if you're already there. It's okay if you still have 2 or 3 more cycles. Whenever you reach that really good end, let's just pause, all of us together, some bonus breaths. As we start to rise up, let's take our knees up into boat. You can have the hands on the floor to make it easier, or hands at the sides to make it harder. From boat, we're going to let our legs trace in circles for bicycle. So one leg circles out, and then the other leg circles out. So I'm going to count, but remember you can always take breaks if needed. Here's 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good work. Bottoms of feet together. If you want to stay back with hands behind in a cowboy, that's okay. If you want to tilt forward, that's also beautiful. Up to you. All From wherever we end up, you could stay with stillness the whole time. Or if it feels nice, maybe you start rocking your right ear toward your right shoulder. Then in a semicircle, start tracing your down, and then left ear to left shoulder. It's almost like we're tracing half of that toroidal field, just helping things feel good. Maybe hands find the floor, and we continue to exaggerate the circle, walking hands over to the right. When they're at the right, the left shoulder lifts. And then walking hands to the left, and that top right shoulder lifts. You can go nice and slow. In fact, if you feel moments where the muscles of your back need you to just pause, you don't have to go any further. Just pause, help it out. But as long as this is still feeling helpful, you could increase the tempo even, doing a full sweeping circle through the center to lift up. It's up to you, how fast, how slow. Whatever you're doing, let's take one more circle to each side. So it's going to be at a different pace for everybody. When you finish with each side, just drop right back down in the center where we meet up together again. Good. Lifting up. Knees can come up. And from here, the circle is up and down. So when we're in our boat pose, our hands will touch to one side, inhale up, exhale touch to the other side, tracing our semicircle back direction. So when you're ready, you start to balance, and exhale, inhale. Here's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. And then from here, taking an easy seated place, leave the left leg, cradle out the right leg. We'll rock through that hip a couple of moments. This can be fast or it can be slow. Sometimes I feel the need to go fast just because that's kind of what people do. But sometimes I actually feel it better when I decrease the speed. So up to you. When you feel like you've about eased that hip as much as it's ready to right now, we're gonna either drop it down to a shin set or to a cross leg if the hips can't handle the shin set that low. Either way, let's find the floor and ease our way back forward. Okay, when we start to rise, we'll switch it out. So now we're cradling out the left. Remember, you can go fast, you can go slow. Just help that hip out, whatever it needs. Eventually dropping the shin down, find the floor, and notice the hips easing deeper. Okay, when we rise up, we'll take our way onto hands and knees. nice high kneeling spot. Tucking our toes helps me feel more stability, but you can be pointed if your feet are not comfortable that way. This one's largely about the quads. The circles we do here is arms start out in front of us. When one arm traces up and back, we lean back a little bit so the quads have to hold us there, and then we trace it back forward. You switch off the arms, second arm traces, and returns. Go for another 5. 4. 3. And 2. And 1. Good work. Dropping hands down. Let's lower all the way down onto our belly. Walk your elbows under shoulders. Let's go right into a quad stretch for those quads. So right hand grabs right foot, pull it in. Good. As we start to release, we get into left, pulling in that side. Good. When you release, keep both elbows underneath for a moment. This is a chance to stretch out the core, so hands plant. We imagine dragging the hands toward us, but we don't actually let them move. Instead, what is pulled is the belly forward, so that pulls those abdominal muscles into a really good stretch. So hands try to drag without really moving. Now bringing the hands right under the shoulders, lower the chest down. This next circle that we do goes like this. We lift our feet and our hands to hover above the ground. From that spot, hands trace a full circle, forward, around. When it's back under shoulders, we exhale, lower down. So inhale up, and down, exhale. Go for another 10. 9. 5. 4. 3. 2. And 1. Good, and take a moment with child's pose. Okay, so from here, coming up onto hands and knees, we're starting to get to that point where we're going to incorporate more and more and more stretching as we go until at the end we're just holding some beautiful poses. So from here, the right knee is going to trace 5 circles to each direction. So choose one direction, the right knee, circles for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then reverse, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Tuck the right toes, plant them at the back, and then press that foot back until you're in a calf stretch. Some people, you can do that with the other knee on the ground. I have to personally push so far back that my other knee lifts. So it's up to your body, getting into that calf stretch. Good, and when you lower down, straight right leg off to the right. Tuck the back toes. Rising up high, we're gonna take a half camel, so that left hand goes for the left heel, right hand up to sky. Feel a little moment to have a back bend, back. Good, and when we drop down to elbows, you can absolutely just pause. If this isn't deep enough, you can inch your way closer to the straight leg. So just kind of imagine, where's the tight spots of my body? Where's the spot where there's resistance? It doesn't really want to stretch, and let's try to work our way there. Good. Coming back up to hands. This right foot slides to the outside of right hand. Sinking forward with the hips into lizard. You can stay on the hands. Maybe one elbow drops to floor. Sometimes both. It's just up to your hips how much they need. Good. Coming back up onto hands. Shift this right knee to the floor. Once we're there, left knee does its 5 circles. So you ready? Go first direction, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and reverse, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Tuck the left toes at the back, press into the calf stretch. Good. When we lower the right knee down, if it lifted, left leg goes straight off left. Tuck the back toes. Coming up for half camel. Right hand works its way to right heel. Left hand up to sky, arch back. And trace that circle field, dropping our weight all the way down to elbows. Remember, if you feel the tight spots through the leg, maybe your body needs more and you need to kind of inch your way closer to the straight leg. It's only going to that depth that feels perfect for your stretch. Planting our hands. We're going to sweep that left foot up to the top left corner and then sink the hips forward. Maybe lower to an elbow, your choice. Inhale. Exhale, come up to hands. Keep this position. Lift up the back knee. This is our last hard thing of the day. This can either look like stepping the front foot back and the back foot forward, or you can do that whole motion with one sweep, one jump at the same time. So either way, whatever you can do, take it. I'm going to do a countdown of 10, but that doesn't mean you have to do all 10. You can go slower, you can go faster. So here's 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good work. Whichever leg ends up in front, they'll tilt that foot more to the center. Straighten the leg, even rise up to shin if you need to. Coming toward pyramid. So front leg is straight in the stretch. Good. This is another moment to be with the lungs, be with the heart. Try to get your breath to start slowing down. Eventually, step the back foot forward, the front foot back. And dropping the hands down to plank, step back into downward facing dog. A couple of brushes to lift the hips, maybe circle things out on the feet, on the knees, circle the hips, whatever feels helpful. Good. When we lower down, scoot a little closer toward the top of the mat as we come to sit. From our seated place, we're going to let our left foot cross over the right foot, if our hips can set up that way. So the foot's all the way crossed over, and then our right hand or our right elbow hooks around that left knee. Spiral the spine into the twist. Return forward, leave the right leg, that bottom one where it is. Sweep the left leg all the way around into pigeon pose. You'll need to pick the hips up to make sure the sacrum is balanced in the middle. You're welcome to drop down to sleeping pigeon if you like that variation. Get to the second side, rock onto the right hip. When we swing the left leg forward, that one needs to end up on the floor. And then a right foot is the one that crosses over. Once it's crossed, left hand or left elbow hooks, take the twist. Swing the leg all the way around, pigeon. Pick your hips right up through the center if that's helpful. Good, and as we start to work our way out of this one, I've got one last pose that we'll do together. This one's one that I'll let you choose how long you stay in it. The way I like to approach it is folding the two edges of the mat in, and then it's frog pose. So facing kind of toward the long edge, either way, whatever you're comfortable with. You'll start to work your knees as wide as you can, starting open on the floor. You want to make sure the hips are neither forward nor backward of the knees. They're exactly in the line. So you can always use the mirror if you need to. And then dropping down to elbows. This is such a nice pose because oftentimes one of those spots that feels like it's just stuck is our hips. It feels for a long time like the hips won't get any more flexible than where they are. And so this is such a nice pose because gravity is the thing doing the work here. It's not us forcing a stretch, it's just relaxing into a stretch. So I love this one, but this is really intense for some people. So you have my permission. This is our last one together. So stay as long as you want. So it could even be 2 more minutes or at any point come out. When you do come out, just drop down onto your belly in front and that'll help you kind of free your legs out of the shape. But otherwise, just a couple of good breaths, helping those muscle groups relax. If you're a person who comes out before others, that's okay. You'll just take a couple of last stretches until you're ready for Shavasana. You're still welcome to stay as long as it still feels okay for your hips. Still freedom to take any other stretches that your body might want to help your practice feel complete. No stress, no pressure, it's all up to you. Some people might already be in Shavasana. When you get there, just return back to where we were at the beginning with that circle breath, trying to connect our inhales to our exhales. And just keep on giving the body these good deep breaths. We'll begin to deepen our inhales and our exhales. Introducing little movements back to fingers and toes, ankles and wrists. Stretching out like we're waking up first thing in the morning. Eventually taking a nice fetal position off to one side. Doing a couple of bonus breaths here. Well, as we rise up, our hands join together in front of our heart. And we imagine this toroidal field around us, kind of mimicking the earth. And we kind of tune into it. How energized does it feel? How strong does it feel? How much distance does it feel like our field spreads outward? And so just imagine as you go through the rest of the day, because we did this work, kind of clearing our pipes, expanding our field, imagine anyone who comes within that distance that you just thought of. Imagine anyone within that distance is affected by your energy. And so as we maintain our energy focused on thoughts of kindness, peace, just compassion, imagine that that's helping to influence those people around our field without them even knowing it. And so with this image to help lead us on, let's wrap up the time we shared together today with the sound of Om. Deep inhale now. May we be filled with light, happiness, and peace. Namaste.